Aha! Okay. that's that's completely unnecessary. Um, I just want to give you guys a quick project update. Um, so as I mentioned before, I lost a lot of time last week messing around with CentOS and Ubuntu, and I had a bunch of problems with the installation for many reasons. USB boot not working, external drive not working, installation itself complaining. I resolved it all. I think I did a couple tutorials addressing some of the issues that I had. But I got back into it full speed officially yesterday. We just got up. So I started the integration effort, and so far I've been successful. I was able to figure out, well, what we're doing, as Nick had mentioned, is actually correctly worded as. Oh, by the way, welcome to Simeon. I think it's Jimenez, new subscriber. Welcome aboard. Um, Please let us know how you found the channel and what you like about the channel. So anyway, so it's really what we're doing is creating a package, and we are also. I see someone just joined. Click the like, say hello. Um, yeah, so it's creating a package. A package being a directory filled with modules. Modules being files that consist of Python code that you're going to use externally. So let's say I'm working on one Python script, and there's different things that I want to do in this script, but I don't want to do everything in the script itself. So I don't want to have this really large file that I have to maintain, right? So I could, I guess, for example, so let's say one of the things that my application is going to do is going to be regarding sound. Some of them are going to be regarding video, right? I could create a video and a sound package, or a multimedia package that includes both. But the bottom line is, so I work on this one script, this Python script in one directory. Then I create a package directory. I could have a package directory that has the sound related code or modules. So I have a subdirectory called sound library. In that directory, I have separate files that are dealing with different sound things that I need to do, or logic that I need. Then I can create another subdirectory called video, and in the video I can have all the video modules. So for example, maybe there is part of my program allows you to have an EQ, so you can adjust the sound quality of whatever sound it is that my application deals with, right? So in the sound directory, where I have the sound package, I can have various pieces of code that are specifically regarding sound. So the equalization could be one of them, right? So I could have one file. Let's say this program is really advanced, right? And that's one of the reasons why you'd want to do a package in the first place with all these separate modules, because if you don't, you'd have this massive single file that's just insane. In terms of it's hard to work with, right? Because you have one file that is covering every single thing, and maybe there's a sound issue, right? So you're doing QA and there's some kind of sound issue. Every time the memory usage gets above a certain point, the sound starts distorting. Why is that happening, right? It's obviously specifically sound related, but then you have this massive single file with a bunch of things that you need to sort through to figure out sound specific things, right? Additionally, every time you like, let's say I'm working on the sound related issue and I don't have the package. Anytime I touch the core code, I can break the core code, right? So that also makes it very inefficient in terms of maintaining the code because again, so there's a bug that we've identified with the sound, right? We all have everything in one single file. So I'm going to go in there, try to identify the problem and try to fix it. How do I fix the problem? Obviously I need to modify the code, but there's only one code base, it's a single file. So fixing the code means fixing the code base, which means potentially affecting anything else, right? Every part of this application is at risk anytime I do any changes because it's all in one thing, right? If we have a separate module that specifically deals with sound, then we can QA the sound libraries, right? Find out the problem is, we can adjust the modules there, right? So we haven't touched the core code, we don't have to touch the core code at all. So the core code, we know it works. It's already been certified, it passed QA, good to go. If we go and mess with the sound libraries, ideally we're only messing with sound related functions, right? So we're not going to break anything else. So additionally, we don't have to go and recertify the entire product, right? When we do certification, we can certify specifically that we didn't break anything with the sound package. So it's things like that. It's one of the reasons why you want to break out your code and make it modular. So anyway, so bottom line is I figured out how that is done, where you create a package folder, right? And then you have all your modules in there, modules being pieces of code. So for example, there could be a bunch of functions. Let's say there's a massive, like the equalization thing, right? Maybe there's a bunch of for whatever reason, let's just say there's thousands of sound related algorithms that my software uses to do things in terms of sound processing, right? So there's thousands of them. So once again, if you have a single file, the sound alone is making this file massive, right? Instead of that, you can have a specific file in your package directory that deals with the sound algos, right? And deals with them as functions. So you have this one file in the directory that has thousands of functions, right? Each function has this sound processing algorithm that says, input sound, adjust this frequency by this amount of decibels, just by this, whatever the logic is, right? So from the base code, all you do is once you've imported that file, you can just reference the function externally, right? So from within your core code, you can say, hey, in the sound package directory, right? This is the translation of what you're going to say. In the sound package directory, there is a function called bass suppression, right? I want you to apply that function with this argument to this, data or whatever it is. I burned myself. I burned myself on I was making empanadas or whatever it is, and I'm kind of a wacky guy. I don't use umbrellas. I wait until the rain stops, and I cook, but I've never bought. I don't think I've ever bought. Well, maybe once, long time ago when I was really young. I've never bought what's it called? Not gloves. Is it mittens? Not mittens. I don't know what it's called. Oven mitts. Oven mitts, I guess. So I stick my bare hand into the oven and just try not to touch anything. Well, after perhaps decades of getting away with that, recently I screwed up, probably because I'm not getting enough sleep because I'm coding all day and getting up at like ridiculous hours. Just motivated, beast mode, trying to get things done. While everybody's sleeping, I am up and at it again, studying, learning, moving forward. That's how you have to be, man. It's life can be somewhat of a battle. When I say battle, don't think it as a negative thing, because imagine if you're like there's certain sports that you play, like boxing, or there's other sports that are like physical, right? So you can look at it from a competitive perspective, but when I say battle, it's in terms of, generally speaking, you're not going to just be lucky, right? And there's going to be a lot of things that will want to get in your way and stop you and hinder you and put you at risk. So therein lies the requirement to fight, right? That's life is a fight. And again, I hate the negative connotation that comes with the word fight, but it is a fight. From when you're young, um, you know, you're competing with your fellow students in school, right? You're getting an education, but so are they. And ultimately, you all want to, ideally want to utilize this education to succeed in the workforce. But everyone around you is trying to do the same thing you're trying to do, right? So why should you be the one to succeed, right? So your first fight is to be the best that you can be and to compete with your classmates, right? Same thing in college, and you get into the working world, it's the same thing, right? Why should you get the promotion, right? Why should you get the raise? Why should you be able to get the next job that pays more money and better opportunity when there's other people, tons of people who also want what you want, right? So that's the fight. Work harder, work smarter, keep pushing, and then you have life that may get in the way. You may have downtimes, uptimes. Well, don't worry about the uptimes are good, but you have your downtimes, right? And you got to fight through that because it's not always going to be the same thing. You're not always going to be motivated. You're not always going to be happy and everything, right? Things happen, life, relationships, family, health, finance, right? And again, the fight. I'm not going to let these things hold me back. I'm not going to let these people hold me back. I'm going to keep pushing, right? Get to a point like me, and it's like, oh, you've succeeded so much, you've done so much. You could, think that, hey, I'm going to relax. I've made it. That's not how life works. You can make it as far as you want to make it. There are millionaires and billionaires that have lost it all, right? And it's not always because of finance. It could be health, right? So that's why I say life is a bit of it's a fight, right? And you got to keep pushing, man. And right now I am pushing to the next level, right? I'm not gonna sit on my hands and be like, yeah, I did all this stuff, and look, I got awards. There's just articles printed. I'm proud of my accomplishments, but how much more can I accomplish? How much further can I go? And additionally, things can change, right? So anyway, kind of got off on a Sunday motivational tangent there and lost my chain of thought. But anyway, so I figured that out. I figured out how to do the package. So I started with the networking component. I probably shouldn't have, because that kind of held me up, because that got me into learning about multi-threaded programming. So I'm looking at socket programming, multi-threaded socket programming. So threads are more efficient than processes. So instead of running everything as a separate process, you can run things multi-threaded. So you can actually have multiple pieces of code or operations running simultaneously, and it's less overhead on the system. I think it's less memory requirements as well. But I haven't yet. So I understand the fundamentals, but I haven't yet grasped the what do you call it? The application, right? So I'm living in the world of theory right now, but in terms of the application, so how do I, what does this actually mean? Still, fundamentally, I know what a thread is, but what is a thread actually, right? And how do I utilize it? I figure, just guessing, the threading that they're referring to must be somehow a function of the processor. We might be getting to that level, perhaps, because when I think about threading, I think about a multi-threading processor. So I might be getting to the point where I'm now seeing the real power of Python, where perhaps what I'm talking about doing is being able to utilize certain functions or hardware within the CPU itself. So perhaps by me venturing where I'm headed now into multi-threading, perhaps what I'm going to be able to do is to send 4 separate instructions or tasks to the processor at the same time, and have that processor understand this multi-threading request, or that this is a multi-threaded request, and actually send each task to physically separate parts of the chip for simultaneous processing. So that's my guess. But again, I do not yet understand the practice of multi-threaded processing. And I'm just now started to explore socket programming, so I don't really know much about that yet. But right now, the real new thing as of yesterday is multi-threaded programming. I've never touched that. I only know about it from a standpoint of hardware, and I guess from a user perspective, right? Not from a programmer perspective. I understand multi-threading. So that's my mission. I'm right now making my coffee, about to make some oatmeal, and then I'm going to jump on the computer. But what I'm going to do is, while I'm here, I got to wash up some dishes and get breakfast ready, a late breakfast. Well, it's not that late, actually. I did okay. I'm not as early as I've been, but I'm doing good. I'm doing good in terms of schedule. I just got to stay on point, today. But yeah, so I'm making my breakfast, and then while I'm doing that, I'm gonna watch some tutorials on my tablet, which is what I'm using to make this video right now. So I'll be learning in the background while I am getting my breakfast together, doing these dishes, and then I'm gonna get on the computer and start trying to understand multi-threaded socket programming. Because just to let you know how this started, I see someone else just joined the live stream. Say hi, click the like button, really appreciate it. So the way I got into this multi-threaded thing is with the client and server pieces that I put together prior to the integration phase that we're in now. I was running the server in the background. You can run a process in the background in Linux with the and sign, right? You do the command and then you put the and sign after it. Was it and or ampersand? I said and. Ampersand. Sorry. Anyway, by doing that, it runs in the background. So that means I can start the server process